You ever notice how we wait to become before we behave? We say things like, when I'm successful, I'll be confident. When I have more money, I'll be disciplined. When I get that opportunity, I'll act like I deserve it. But here's the truth. Life doesn't work that way. You don't wait to be the person you want to be. You start acting like that person now. Because identity always comes before results. Most people get that backwards. They think the results will make them who they want to be. But results don't shape identity. Identity shapes results. You can't expect success to build your confidence if you don't already believe you're someone capable of achieving it. It's like waiting for the mirror to smile before you do. It doesn't happen that way. Think about it. Every great person you admire didn't start out there. They acted like the person they wanted to become before anyone saw them that way. They spoke differently. They carried themselves differently. They made decisions that aligned with their future, not their current situation. Because when you act like the person you want to become, your mind starts catching up. Your behavior sends a message to your brain, this is who we are now. And your brain believes it. You don't need permission. You don't need the title, the money, or the audience. You just need to start showing up differently. Let's be honest, sometimes we tell ourselves, I'll act like that once I'm ready. But ready is a myth. You don't feel ready to start waking up early, or to take a risk, or to set boundaries. You act first. The feeling follows later. Confidence doesn't come from success. Confidence comes from evidence, the proof that you can trust yourself to do what you said you would. And the only way to build that proof is to act in alignment with the person you're becoming. When you wake up tomorrow, ask yourself this simple question, what would the best version of me do today? Then do that. Maybe that version of you doesn't scroll first thing in the morning. Maybe they read. Maybe they exercise. Maybe they send that email or make that call they've been avoiding. Do it not because you're already that person, but because you're becoming that person. That's the quiet shift that changes everything. Because every action you take is like a vote for the identity you're building, and the more votes you cast, the more your brain says, okay, this is who we are now. That's how growth works. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's small, consistent, and intentional. You might think, but won't that feel fake? Yeah, it will at first, because transformation always feels fake in the beginning. You're not pretending to be someone else. You're practicing to become your future self, and that's different. You're not lying to the world. You're teaching yourself what's possible. See, the gap between who you are and who you want to be isn't filled with luck, talent, or opportunity. It's filled with action. You bridge that gap every day through the choices you make, the standards you hold, and the discipline you show. So don't wait for success to find you. Act like the person who's already living it. Talk like them, think like them, move like them, because when you do, your reality starts to bend in that direction. You attract what you believe you are, and belief is built through behavior. You can't think your way into a new life, you have to act your way there. So start today, not when it's convenient, not when it's easy. Start now, because the person you want to become is waiting for you, and they're watching to see if you'll finally show up. We all love the idea of change. The idea of a new version of ourselves, stronger, more confident, more successful. But the thing that stops most people from ever getting there is this one simple belief: I'll start when I feel ready. You hear it all the time. I'll start the gym when I have more energy. I'll start the business when I feel confident. I'll speak up when I'm not so nervous. But here's the truth: if you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. Because feelings are inconsistent, they come and go. One day you're motivated, the next day you're not. And if your actions are controlled by your emotions, then your growth will always be unpredictable. The people who build something great, they move even when they don't feel like it. They understand that discipline matters more than motivation. They act based on who they want to be, not how they feel in the moment. See, your feelings will tell you to stay comfortable. They'll tell you to take it easy, to do it tomorrow, to wait until things feel right. But the person you want to become, that person isn't built in comfort. That person is built in the moments when you act anyway, when you show up tired, scared, unsure, but still do the work. That's what separates those who grow from those who only dream about it. The difference isn't talent. It isn't luck, it's behavior. It's what you do when you don't feel like doing it. Think about it. Every time you push through that resistance, you're training your brain. You're teaching yourself that your feelings don't run your life. You do, and when you start doing that often enough, your brain starts to follow your lead. It stops fighting you so much. It starts trusting you. That's when the magic happens. Because when you act like the person you want to become, even when you don't feel like it, your emotions start to catch up to your behavior. You don't wait to feel confident before you act confident. You act confident, and eventually confidence becomes natural. You don't wait to feel disciplined before you show up. You show up, and discipline becomes part of you. That's how it works. You lead with behavior, not emotion. But let's be honest, that's not easy, because your feelings are loud. They want to protect you. They want to keep you safe. And safe is fine if you want to stay the same, but safe doesn't build dreams. Safe doesn't stretch you. Safe doesn't turn you into the person you were meant to be. You've got to decide what matters more, comfort or change, because you can't have both. Growth will always ask you to do what your emotions don't want to. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. That's how you know you're moving forward. Every time you take action in spite of fear, you grow. Every time you show up when you don't feel ready, you build trust with yourself. And that trust, that's confidence. Confidence isn't this loud, bold energy that shows up out of nowhere. Confidence is the quiet peace that comes from knowing you'll do what you said you would. You don't get there by waiting. You get there by doing, even if your hands are shaking, even if your voice cracks, even if you're scared of failing, because every time you move forward in fear, you teach your mind something powerful, that fear isn't final. You stop being controlled by the mood of the moment. You stop being reactive, and you start being intentional. That's when things begin to change. That's when you start to see progress that actually lasts. So next time you don't feel like showing up, remind yourself, your feelings are temporary, your future is not. Your emotions might want comfort, but your purpose wants commitment. You can't wait for the perfect moment. You have to create it. Act first, feel later, because the person you want to become, they're already doing the things you're avoiding. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the right time. Act like the person you want to become, even when you don't feel like it. Because that's how you close the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be. Every day, you're casting votes. Not with a ballot, not with a pen, but with your choices. Each decision you make is a quiet whisper to your future, saying, "This is who I am." You might not realize it, but the person you're becoming is built in the smallest, most ordinary moments of your life. The truth is, success doesn't come from one massive, life-changing action. It comes from a series of small, deliberate steps, the things you do when nobody's watching, the choices that seem too small to matter, but they do matter. They always do. You don't become disciplined overnight. You build it every morning you choose to get up when your alarm rings instead of hitting snooze. You don't become confident in one big speech or one big win. You build it in the moments you decide to speak up, even when your voice shakes. You don't become successful in one big opportunity. You build it through consistent effort, the hours, the repetitions, the small sacrifices no one else sees. Every decision is a seed. You plant it today, and you harvest it later. The problem is, most people plant seeds and give up before they grow. They expect instant results, but life doesn't work that way. Growth takes time, patience, and consistency. You can't say you want to be better and then act like the old version of yourself. The small things you choose every day, how you talk to people, how you handle stress, how you treat your time, those are the things that define your identity. And when you start paying attention to them, everything begins to shift. Here's what's powerful. You don't need to change your entire life in one day. You just need to start making different choices, small ones, repeated over time. Because small choices compound, they stack up. They build momentum. You might not notice it right away, but every yes and every no you give is shaping the direction of your life. Every time you choose to do what's right instead of what's easy, you're voting for your future. And every time you give in to old habits, you're casting a vote for your past. So the question becomes, which version of you are you voting for today? Most people underestimate the power of the small. They think change only counts when it's dramatic. But the truth is, the little things you repeat every day, that's where transformation happens. It's in the extra 5 minutes of focus, the decision to put your phone down and read, the choice to apologize instead of defend, the effort to be patient instead of reactive. Those moments are tiny, but they add up. They're building you into something, and if you're not paying attention, they might be building someone you don't want to become. That's why awareness is everything. If you can become aware of your daily decisions, really aware, you can redirect your path. You can start steering your life toward the version of you that you actually want to live as. Here's the beautiful part. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to keep choosing over and over again, because even when you make a mistake, the next choice is another vote. You can always choose differently. That's the power you have every single day, the power to decide who you are becoming. No one can take that from you. No one can vote for you. No one can live your habits for you. So ask yourself, when no one's watching, what are you choosing? When you're tired, when you're stressed, when it's inconvenient, who are you showing up as? Because that's where your future is being written. Not in the big moments, but in the quiet ones. Not in what you say you'll do someday, but in what you choose to do today. You don't need a perfect plan to change your life. You just need to start making choices that match your future, not your past. Every day, every decision, every habit, that's your vote. So choose carefully. Choose intentionally, and remember, it's not one big choice that changes your life. It's 1,000 small ones that you make when no one else is looking. Look around at your life for a moment, the people you talk to, the spaces you spend time in, the conversations you allow, the energy you accept. All of that is shaping you, whether you realize it or not. You can't become the person you want to be if your environment is still built for the person you used to be. It's like trying to grow in a room with no sunlight. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you're surrounded by the wrong conditions, you'll stay stuck. You can't expect to think differently, act differently, or live differently if everything around you is pulling you back into who you were trying to leave behind. Sometimes growth isn't about doing more. Sometimes it's about letting go of people, of habits, of spaces that don't match your direction anymore. That's hard because we build comfort around familiarity. Even if it's not healthy, it feels safe. But here's the truth. You can't heal, grow, or evolve in the same environment that made you want to change in the first place. If you want to become a better version of yourself, you have to start aligning your surroundings with your future, not your past. The music you listen to, the content you consume, the people you keep close, all of it either feeds your growth or drains it. And if you're not intentional about what's around you, you'll slowly drift back into old patterns without even noticing. You ever notice how being around certain people makes you feel heavy, like you have to shrink just to fit in? That's not growth, that's survival, and you can't build your future in survival mode. You need people who speak life into your goals, who challenge you with love, who remind you who you are when you forget. The kind of people who aren't intimidated by your growth, but inspired by it. But here's the part no one likes to talk about. Sometimes those people aren't your friends yet. Sometimes they're strangers, mentors, or voices you haven't met yet. And that's okay, because finding alignment doesn't mean abandoning everyone you know. It means recognizing who's walking with you and who's holding you back. Protecting your environment isn't selfish, it's responsible, because your environment influences your mindset, and your mindset influences your decisions. You can't stay around negativity and expect to think positively. You can't surround yourself with doubt and expect to build confidence. You can't stay where you're comfortable and expect to grow into who you're meant to be. Growth requires friction. It requires distance from what keeps you stagnant. And that distance can feel lonely at first, but loneliness in purpose is better than company in distraction. You're not meant to fit everywhere. You're meant to align where your purpose can breathe. So maybe it's time to clean up your environment physically, mentally, emotionally. Maybe it's time to unfollow people who drain your focus. Maybe it's time to set boundaries that protect your peace. Maybe it's time to start saying no to things that don't reflect where you're going. Because when you start aligning your surroundings with your goals, you'll feel it. Life gets quieter, clearer, lighter. You start to think differently. You start to move differently. You start to attract opportunities that match your mindset. And the reason isn't luck, it's alignment. Everything changes when your environment reflects your intentions. You wake up with more energy. You feel more focused. You stop fighting against the current and start moving with it. That's the power of being in spaces that support your growth. So look at your circle. Look at your habits. Look at your spaces. Ask yourself, does this reflect the person I'm becoming or the person I used to be? If the answer is the past, it's time to make a change, because you can't become your future self while living in your past environment. You can't evolve while holding on to what no longer fits. And you can't build something new if everything around you keeps reminding you of who you were. Create space for the life you want. Build an environment that lifts you, challenges you, and reflects the best version of you. Because once your surroundings align with your vision, growth stops being a struggle. It becomes your new normal. Change doesn't happen all at once. It's not this sudden, lightning bolt moment where everything in your life shifts and you instantly become the person you want to be. Real change is slow. It's steady. It's built in repetition, in consistency, in the quiet commitment to keep showing up even when no one's clapping, even when progress feels invisible. Most people give up not because they can't do it, but because they expect results too soon. They start acting like the person they want to become, and when nothing changes after a few days, they tell themselves it's not working. But transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's not instant gratification, it's delayed reward. And that's where most people lose patience. The truth is, consistency isn't glamorous. It's not the part people post online. It's not loud or exciting. It's the early mornings when your alarm goes off and you don't want to move. It's the workouts where your energy's low. It's the moments where you choose discipline over comfort, again and again. Those small repetitions, that's where change begins. You might not see progress every day. You might not feel like you're growing, but consistency has a quiet way of reshaping you from the inside out. One day you wake up and you realize the things that used to be hard aren't hard anymore. The habits that once took effort now feel natural. The mindset that used to take work now feels like who you are. That's not luck. That's consistency turning into identity. People think transformation is about intensity, going all in, working harder, doing more. But intensity burns fast. It's like a match, bright at first, but it fades quick. Consistency is the slow fire that keeps burning, even when the excitement's gone. That's the difference between short-term change and long-term growth. You don't need to do everything perfectly, you just need to keep showing up. Every missed day doesn't erase your progress. Every mistake isn't failure, it's feedback. The key is to stay in motion, because once you stop, starting over becomes harder. But if you stay consistent, even at 50%, you keep momentum alive. And momentum is what keeps you moving when motivation disappears. Consistency is also how you build trust with yourself. Every time you follow through, your brain takes note. We did what we said we would. That's how confidence is built, not from winning once, but from proving to yourself day after day that you can depend on your own word. That kind of self-trust is rare, and it changes everything. But let's be honest, consistency will test you. It'll test your patience. It'll test your discipline. There will be days when no one notices your effort, days when it feels like nothing's working, days when you'll wonder why you're even trying, and in those moments, you'll be tempted to quit. But that's exactly when you're closest to growth, because what comes after frustration is usually breakthrough. You don't see the roots of a tree growing, but they are deep beneath the surface, building a foundation strong enough to hold the weight of what's coming. That's what consistency does for you. It builds your roots before your results. And if you stay committed long enough, the results will show not just in what you achieve, but in who you've become. So don't rush the process. Don't expect overnight change. Just keep moving, keep building, keep acting like the person you want to become, day after day, until it stops being an act, until it just feels like you. Because one day it will. One day you'll look back and realize you became the person you were pretending to be. And it didn't happen because of one big leap. It happened because of 1,000 small steps that no one saw but you. That's the power of consistency. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about becoming someone who shows up not because it's easy, not because it's exciting, but because it's who you are now. Keep showing up. Keep moving forward, because every day you do, you're not faking it, you're becoming it.